Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Brothers War podcast. I'm Ryan Green.
And I'm Zack Taylor. And we talk about all things magic, but mostly Commander.
And this week, we're going to bring you our top 10 lists of War of the Spark cards for Commander. And specifically, it's the Brothers War style secret list.
Secret list.
So, Zack, I don't know what's going on with you.
I don't know what's going on with you either, man.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. You know what? We should take a guess at how much overlap there'll be. I think we're going to overlap in 4 cards.
I think we're all overlapping 7.
Okay, there you go. Those are our predictions.
Yep.
Bold.
A1 spicy. Heinz Corporation. If you want to sponsor us, we use A1.
All the time. A1.
Yep.
Making your hamburgers taste like barbecue, kind of, sort of.
Word.
All right. So, so listeners and viewers out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Mm-hmm. We really, really appreciate it. Your feedback is what keeps us going, so please keep doing that. And if you want to, leave us a review in the iTunes store. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button with the dingy bell thingy down below if you're watching the video. And tell a friend.
Yep.
Hey, Zack, you should listen to the Brothers War podcast.
Hey, man, I do. Every week, multiple times.
Yes, you do. Yes, I do. All right. So, Zack, what's been going on in your personal life, man?
Not much, man. I'm just hanging out, going back to where I'm from, Bastrop, Texas, this weekend.
Representing Bastrop?
Yep. There's actually a game store there. I played EDH there when I was there one time.
Longtime listeners will know. We did mention that on a show.
We did.
Episode. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you going to play this time?
Nah, probably not.
No, just a family visit?
Yep.
Family's good. All right.
What's up with you, man?
All right. So this week is a very special #OTG Dad moment. This one centers around Veronica. And this is because Zack got Veronica a present. And I'm going to show it to you here. It is this fine pair of spectacles here. And in fact, actually, I'll wear it because I'm going to need to do a Veronica impression. So Veronica has worn these, and she has adopted the Batman voice pattern.
Yep.
Part of that's probably my fault. But anyway, she put this on, and she was like, "Dad, how was your day?" It was really, really, really cute.
It was.
And then the other one that's really cute was she said, "I'm Bat Veronica." And I've watched that clip so many times. It is so cute. Oh my goodness. All right, so that's going to move us on into something we do every episode of the Brothers War podcast here. And Zack, I want to take this one solo.
All right.
Mr. Mike Condon, thank you so much for your hard work. The Batman appreciates you.
Hey, Ryan, did you see Batman? Batman was here.
What? I missed him?
Yeah, you missed him, dude.
Oh, man.
Right?
Oh.
You thanked Mike and everything. Nuts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and we've got one other thing here. So it is mail day here. We got sent this from one Mr. Craig Blanchett. So thank you so much for this. I'm going to open it here on the air.
What is it? What is it?
I know, but I don't want the listeners to know. Or
Okay.
the viewers. So let's see. Sorry about the crinkle.
What is it? I need to know.
Oh, snap. Ooh, with silica.
Yeah,
buttons
Celica
too.
tickets, yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. Yep. Did I get there? Almost.
Oh, yeah.
This is great and entertaining for listeners, I can tell.
Pretty soon, there's gonna be on the Brothers War ASMR, you cutting tape with your fingernail.
There you go.
I think that should go there. Maybe a little silica packet shake.
Ooh, look at this. All right. So a whole bunch of snow-covered mountains to make my deck more optimal. We had a talk about a deck I played at Los Angeles, the Magic Fest. It's this deck here. It is Grenzo Havoc Razor. It's my Mr. OPC deck, which we have filmed an episode on.
Yep.
And Craig was like, "Oh, those should be snow covered." I was like, "Yeah, they should be." And then he sent them to me. So Craig, thank you so much for that, by the way. That is so generous and amazing. And I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And so does Batman. All right. I couldn't resist. I had to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So while Ryan's packing that up, we go into the main topic. War of the Ravnica. War of the Spark.
Ravnica's War on the Sparks.
Yep, return to Ravnica.
Indeed.
So it's been fully previewed. All the cards are out. We've seen them, and we have picked our top 10 cards that we feel are playable in Commander. So we're going to do the secret list style, and we'll start with 10 and go up to 1, right?
Yeah, that's for you, Zach. We are starting at the bottom and going to the top.
Okay. Yeah, so that's ascending, right?
I think it's, depending on how you value one as like maximum value or minus value. Okay, so I guess I'll hold my phone over to the side so you can't see the picture because we're going to do yours first, right?
Let's do yours first. I didn't win first last time.
Okay. I'm going first. Okay. So, number 10, undisputable, best card from War of the Spark for your Commander decks is a card known as Vivian's Arcbow. This is 1 and a green for a legendary artifact. X and tap, discard a card. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, in one of our previous videos, we talked about this card.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. Number one, it lets you get your creature out like at instant speed. Mm-hmm. And, if you've got this open and a lot of mana, it's going to be kind of hard to attack into you, especially if you're playing a creature-heavy deck. So, I don't know. I think this card's really awesome, and I'm excited to play with it.
Yeah, I think it's real good, too. It almost made my list.
Ooh, okay. So, no overlap so far.
Nope. So, my number 10 card is a little ditty called, is it Despark? I think it's Despark. That's D-Spark. And it's an instant that costs white and a black. And it says, exile target permanent with converted mana costs 4 or greater. I think that's pretty good. Like, it's not going to be an early game play, but it's definitely more meaningful later in the game. And I think that's good.
Well, and it's Exile, and it's kind of anything. So that's pretty good. Also didn't make my list. So far.
I mean, did you see this card?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay.
It's good. I don't like the restriction, right? Like, if there's a propaganda out there, I want to be able to hit it.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it's really good, though. I mean, it's instant. It's 2 mana. It's Warzov. But I mean, I don't know. Like, if you compare it to like something like Anguished Unmaking, I think I'd rather have Anguished Unmaking.
Oh, yeah, I would too. I absolutely would. But I still feel like this is just another piece in Orzhov's removal kit.
Fair enough. Yeah, so, okay. So that was Dees Park. Yeah, I know.
Not D-Spark plus.
I think it's Dees Park. Okay, so my number 9 is a card called Massacre Girl. This is 3 black for a legendary creature human assassin that's 4/4 with menace. When Massacre Girl enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So, there's been some hype about this on the internet, right? Jumbo Commander did a video that's great. You should definitely check it out. I'll make sure to put a link in the show notes. And also, I think Max from CMDR Central is planning on building this deck. So, if we see them at Las Vegas, maybe I'll have a version too, and we can go, girl, right? Like,
like the female version of Mono a Mono.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, I think this card's great. It's kind of like a Wrath of God or like a board wipe in the command zone.
Yeah.
So, I think this deck's really cool. I think there's a lot of awesome pieces, and just like kind of giving your opponents 1/1s to like really just make sure the chain goes off. There's a lot of really fun cards to play with this, and I think it's probably actually decent in the 99 as well.
I think so.
Right? Because as long as there's at least like one single toughness creature out there, I think this can get there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And on top of that, even like if you've got something like tokens that you can maybe sack to like Ashnod's Altar or something to have cards go to the graveyard.
Oh yeah, if you got your own sack outlets, yeah. Or even just like a high market or something. Yeah, totally, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say I want to take this moment here to say that this list was really hard to make.
It was.
I started and I had like 40 cards, and I was like, there are so many on here. So, audience at home, definitely send us your list as well.
For sure.
Let us know if you agree or disagree with us. Obviously, we definitely don't totally agree so far.
Right.
So, I think the fact that there's that many good cards is a really good sign. I'm super pumped for this set.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to like go to the pre-release and get my pack. And I'm going to be picking up that early box there too.
Nice.
And I don't know. This set looks sweet.
It does. Like, there's just so many good cards. I had like 25, 30 that I had to narrow down from, and it was hard. And then once I narrowed the cards down, like ordering them was hard as well. So it's my number 9. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
My number 9 is Lazotep Plating.
Oh, yeah.
It's a instant, 1 in a blue. It says amass 1, and this is the only time we'll read amass. Put a 1/1 counter on an army you control. If you don't control one, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. So yeah, this card seems pretty good. Someone's trying to target something yours to destroy it or whatever. You throw this down and give yourself hexproof.
Should we call this card Zombie Chump Blocker?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so yeah, this card is sweet. Also not on my list so far. We're gonna have to go 7 for 7, right?
Yeah.
For your prediction to hold true. Again, A1, check it out. But yeah, this card's great. I did consider it for inclusion. It does something that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me the biggest thing is I don't think a lot of spells target you in Commander. I think a lot of times it could be them trying to blow up something of yours. And there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't target, right? So, your Wraths and your Vandal Blasts and stuff like that. So, I think it kind of like fell off the list for me, but I definitely would consider it an honorable mention. All right, that's going to move us on to my number 8. And here is the thing about my lists. I like to cheat a little bit, and I did this time too. There are 2 cards in my number 8 slot.
What? How does that even work?
Because they're very similar in function, and I just had to cheat a little bit. I'm sorry.
I didn't even cheat this time. I literally have exactly 10 cards.
Oh man, missing the boat, Zach. All right, so I've got 2 here. It's Flux Channeler and Evolution Sage. So I'm going to read them both out. Evolution Sage is green and 2 for a 3/2 elf druid. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. And Flux Channeler is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 human wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. So
yeah, I get that.
Counters in our format are a big deal. Mm-hmm. And, proliferate is huge. It's going to work with your planeswalkers for loyalty. It's going to work with charge counters on artifacts. It's going to work with +1/+1 counters on your creatures. It's going to work with poison counters on your opponents. It's crazy good in our format. And these are both like really like novel ways to make that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Evolution Sage doing a couple of fetch lands with like a Super Friends deck or even just like a +1/+1 counters deck, you could put both of these in a Simic +1/+1 counters deck and they would both be really good. So I don't know. Like, and I love the idea that like non-creature spells are doing it on the Flux Channeler. And then like, if that's a Super Friends deck, it's like your planeswalkers are like buffing your other planeswalkers and they're really cheap to cast too. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the only downside of these cards is that they're pretty fragile, each with only 2 toughness. But, I don't know. I think these are really good for our format.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I definitely want to put both of them in my Pure and Toothy deck that I'm semi-working on.
They'll be great in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, man. Totally. Okay. So that was my number 8 slot. So you are up with your number 8.
All right. My number 8 is Emergence Zone.
We have our first overlap.
Yeah, I figured.
Is anyone surprised? I'm not.
Nope. This is a land. You can tap it to add a colorless mana, or you can pay 1, tap it, sacrifice Emergence Zone. You may cast spells spells this turn as though they had flash. So, like, especially if you're playing a lot of combos. I mean, I don't usually, but if you want to win on someone else's turn, you just do it, right? You just have, and the thing is, you don't even have to have the pieces, I don't think, to win. Just the threat of that's going to keep people on edge. Just having an Emergence Zone there.
Well, yeah, and the opportunity cost is so low.
Yeah.
It doesn't come into play tap.
Nope.
It taps for colorless mana, and the turn you need it, it's going to be there for you. And it takes away 2 mana because you have to tap 1 and tap it to sacrifice it. That's okay, right? Like, that's actually cheaper than activating Alchemist Refuge, right? That's like blue-green and tap, right? So that's 3 mana, and that card's great. Now, granted, you get to do it every turn.
Right.
Sacrificing it is a bit of a downside, but this can go in any deck.
Yep. And I mean, yeah, it's an uncommon, right? Like, I think it's good.
It's the number 4 spot on my list.
Oh, wow.
I have it that highly. I think it's really that good.
I think it's pretty good. What is your next card, Ryan?
All right. So if I just did 8, then this is hard because the pictures are so big. Okay. So my number 7 is also a land. It is Karns Bastion. Is overlap? No? Okay, cool.
Nope.
All right, so Karns Bastion, tap to add colorless, or 4 and tap, proliferate. Right, so we already talked about how proliferate is really good in Commander.
Yep.
And this card is a land, and it gets to do it every turn. I mean, 5 mana, because you have to tap the land itself, is a lot, right? Like that's a big cost. But if your deck is built to take advantage of it, it's really good. And again, the opportunity cost is so low, it doesn't come into play tapped. I would have expected this to come into play tapped.
Yeah.
I think this card's really good. I think it's going to find a home in a lot of different decks. I mean, even like a Selesnya +1/+1 counters deck.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like think about it. Edgar Markov.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be super good.
It's a little harder to be in there because that is a 3-color deck.
Yeah,
and colorless lands are a bit of a punish, but I think it's good.
I think the upside there is worth it.
Anytime you've got a commander that's going to put those +1/+1 counters, I don't know. I'm kind of blown away by the lands in this set, by the way.
Yeah, I think they're good. Like, I don't know. I didn't put any proliferate cards on my list just because they're not. You definitely have to build a deck for that, right? To be able to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
And I didn't want to be narrowed into that, right? Like, I think there are cards that are universally better, not doing what those cards do, but just more generally playable, right? Like, you don't have to build a deck around it necessarily for it to be good.
All right, well, hot take here. You heard it here. Zach does not like proliferating commander.
Whatever, dude. That's not true. You know that I love proliferate. And every time a proliferate card got spoiled, I was like, oh, what the crap, Ryan? And I text you with the picture. Like, I definitely want it.
That did happen.
Yeah. True story. I definitely want all the proliferate cards. I just didn't put them on my list.
All right, so what's next?
I want to do some deep cuts. Next is Casualties of War.
We have another overlap.
Yeah.
This card's crazy.
It is. It's 2 black, green for a sorcery that says choose 1 or more. Destroy target artifact, destroy target creature, destroy target enchantment, target land, or target planeswalker. That's 5 modes, right? And it says pick 1 or more. So So think about this. For 2 modes, you're paying 3 mana a piece, right?
Yep.
And we do that with cards. Yeah.
Mortify, putrefy. Sure.
Yeah. English Unmaking, Yeah. Yeah. So that, and then when you pick more than 2 modes, it just gets more and more value. And I think this card is better in EDH than necessarily in one-on-one because you have 3 other people that are going to have more stuff. Like, you're going to be able to, I feel like, use probably at least 4 of these at any given time almost. I
think the Planeswalker one is probably the least likely to be there. But,
I agree.
But that happens too. And, with War of the Spark being out there, we're going to want some Planeswalker removal in our decks now. And this is a great way to put it in and not really take up another card slot, right? And the cost is a little bit high, 6 mana, but you're playing green, so you're probably ramping a bunch.
Yeah.
And there's a card similar to this called Decimate that does creature, enchantment, artifact, and land, right? So 4 of the modes, but it has to have all the targets, right? This doesn't, right? If there is a land and an enchantment that you need to get gone and somebody else has just wiped the board or whatever, you can cast this.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. It's on my list, and I guess I should tell you where on my list it's at.
It's number 1.
It's number 3 on my list.
You just said that Emergence Zone was number 3.
No, Emergence Zone is number 4.
I feel like you're changing the story. I'm gonna
check
this. I'm gonna check this and edit. We'll see. We'll see.
Go to the tape.
Yep. All right. What have you got next, man?
All right. Okay. So up next is Feather the Redeemed.
What?
Is this on your list too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we do have a lot of overlap here. Feather the Redeemed is red, white for a 3/4 legendary creature angel, in parentheses bird.
Yep.
Flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. This is really cool. This was the Command Zone preview card.
Yep.
Right? And they did a really awesome job, so you should definitely check out that video if you haven't watched it.
For sure.
And what I love about this card is it's a non-Borosy Boros card.
Exactly.
Right? It's like Firesong and Sunspeaker. It's another way to play that is Boros, but it's new and it's unique.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to play really fun. I'm actually very tempted to make this deck.
I'll just lay it out. Like, I saw Josh's deck from Game Nights, the Firesong and Sunspeaker deck, and I was like, that's a pretty non-Boros deck. and I kind of loathe Boros. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this Boros deck, and it's gonna be like a surprise. And then like people that follow me on Twitter, I posted a picture of a box that just said secrets. that was what was in there, was my Boros stuff.
Oh, the cat is out of the bag is what you're saying.
Pretty much, because I'm just gonna build this feather deck, right? Like I've got a bunch of stuff for it already, and I didn't have to worry about, oh man, cards are gonna spike. It's like, oh, because I already got them.
Oh, I'll snap. Well, the thing that's cool about this deck is that the cards that are in it like don't overlap anywhere else. Like
That's true.
There are so many cards that only this deck wants that I think it's they're cheap, like they're commons.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's like +1/+1 draw a card, +1 or
haste and draw a card.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I think it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Let me ask you a question, Zach.
All right.
You gonna put Sunforger in that deck?
You know I am. I am.
I mean, they might as well just rename Boros to Sunforger.
It's true.
for Commander, anyways. Okay, so where was that on your list?
It was my next card, actually.
Oh, snap. Okay.
So that's, let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It was my 6th card.
Okay, and it was my...
I think it was your 6th, too.
6.
We got there.
All right, so there you have it. Feather the Redeemed, de facto, number 6 best card in War of the Spark.
Yep.
Can't be argued.
So what's your number 5, man?
All right, number 5. It's another land. The lands in this set are so good. This one's called Blast Zone.
Yeah.
It enters the battlefield with a charge counter on it. It taps to add colorless. And for X and tap, put X charge counters on Blast Zone. And 3 and tap, sacrifice Blast Zone, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Blast Zone. Okay, this card's great. All right.
What?
Is this on your list?
No. So I told you about this card the other day, and you were like, we're at the grocery store or something, and you were just like, oh, that card's okay.
Okay.
And then I was like,
sometimes you have to sit with a card and let it like sink in and absorb.
I'm like making my list, and I was like, oh, I should put this card. No, Ryan thinks it sucks.
Well, you should do your list. You shouldn't do my list.
No, I didn't. I was like, well, I should find something else, because like I ended up cutting it because I was like, I don't want to put cards that stink on there.
Could it possibly be that I tricked you and I wanted it all for myself?
It's probably true. I definitely sold all the pre-orders of that card that I did.
So let's talk about why it's good here. Okay, so it doesn't come into play tapped. It comes with 1 charge counter. So that means it's not going to get tokens.
Yep.
Right? So that's like a slight downside. But you can leave it up, right? And if you're playing like a Ryan style deck that does a lot of things at the end of turn or lots of instants and whatever, if you don't need to counterspell something or you don't need to react to something, or that person attacks the other person, you can spend 4 and tap and just add 2 charge counters.
Yeah.
And the reason I think this card is so important and why it's so high on my list, it can go in any deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It gives red decks answers to enchantments.
Oh, yeah, that is good. I like that.
It's huge, right? It gives black decks answers to enchantments and artifacts, right? And I mean, the opportunity cost, again, I've said that like 4 times this episode already. It's so low because it doesn't come into play tapped. This card is really good, I think. I maybe my initial impression wasn't that great, but I'll tell you, I've come around. I think it's really good, and I think we're going to see a lot of it.
I think so, too. I think that card's going to be money. Yes, this is
It's so money, and it doesn't even know it.
What movie was that from? I remember hearing
Swingers.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah. Yeah, that was what Vince Vaughn kept going around saying.
Yes.
All right. So my next card is Spark Double.
Double the Jace, double the fun.
Right? Was that on your list?
No.
Really?
I'll tell you why in a moment.
Okay.
I'll let you go through it.
Sure. It's Spark Double's Creature Illusion. It costs 3 and a blue. It's a 0/0 and says, you may have Spark Double enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature. If it enters with it enters with an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker, and isn't legendary if that's permanent is legendary.
All right, yeah. So go into it. Or do you want me to?
Oh no, I think this is cool. I mean, it's another clone. I will say that trying to do some sort of combo with legendaries, that you can't do that.
You can.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if you want this to come in as a legendary and then
to have like a sack loop or something. Yeah, no, It's not going to do that. But so okay, the fact that it can be a duplicate, like kind of like Sakashima the Imposter, is really cool. And it's kind of the only thing that actually will let you have like 2 copies of the same planeswalker currently. So for that reason, it is good and it is unique and it is novel. But we also have Clever Impersonator, right?
Yeah.
And that can copy any permanent, not just creatures or
for sure.
planeswalkers. So I was just like, oh, it's good. And it was on my initial list.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the artwork on it. And I think it's a good card. I see myself playing with it a lot. +1/+1 counter is good. An extra loyalty counter is really good.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I was just like, there's so many cards. It was really tough to choose. And this one, it just didn't make it for me. But I think it is worthy of the inclusion.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a strong card. Like, yeah, there are, again, it's kind of like Despot or Desparkler. I forgot what the card is called.
Despark.
Yeah, Despark. It's just another clone that you can have if you're doing clone stuff.
But again, there are, like Helm of the Host, right?
Yeah.
That lets you get duplicate copies of your commander. There are lots of decks that want that effect, right?
Sure.
And this lets you do it, and it comes in with a +1/+1 counter. So there's going to be a lot of decks this is really good in. And 4 mana is a good rate for this too.
Yeah,
I think it's a good card. I definitely want to play it.
I want to put it on a what's the White Praetor?
Oh, Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite.
Yeah, 2 of those is pretty hard. Did you just bite?
No, shh. The audio listeners will never know.
Oh, sorry. You're keeping secrets from the audio listeners now?
Maybe.
I mean, we're just going to have a blank audio one day, and it's just going to be like, we're on the video room doing like sign language. All right, man. What's your next card?
All right. Well, next on my list was Emergent Zone.
What?
So we can't really talk about that next. So how many cards do you have left on your... Well, I'll just go to my next one. How about that?
Hold on. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 left.
I have 2 left.
I guess I should go next.
I guess you should.
I mean, I think honestly, this is where we're going to start to overlap.
I mean, we already have.
Yeah. So how many have we overlapped? 1? No. 2.
Casualties of War, Emergent Zone, Feather of the Redeemed.
Okay, so it's just Emergent Zone and Feather. So that's 2.
No, and Casualties of War.
Casualties of War. Oh, 3. Uh-oh. Can I get there? That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have to match on the rest of them to get my 7.
Well, let's see.
Okay,
let's find out.
Next is Finale of Revelation.
All right, swing and a miss.
Really? Okay. It's X and 2 blue for a sorcery that says draw X cards. If X is 10 or more, instead shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, untap up to 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile Finale of Revelation. I just think this is a sweet draw card. I like to draw a bunch of cards. And although I will say I don't love that it's an instant.
You mean that it's a sorcery?
Yeah, yep. I don't love that it's a sorcery, but you do get some lands back. So, 5 lands, you should be able to cast a counterspell or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, that was my thought, right?
Yeah.
I typically don't like tapping out, and with this kind of spell, you're really encouraged to tap out. Like you really want to spend 12 mana for the spell.
What if you have Emergent Zone and you tap on someone else's turn?
Oh, see, there you go. Right. So I'm telling you, Emergent Zone, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it is.
This card's great. I definitely could see myself playing it, but I really want to have like Vidalcan Ori or Leyline of Anticipation in play.
Yeah.
To play something like this. Getting to untap the lands if you get to 12 is really good. And 5 lands is a lot to do stuff with. And no maximum hand size for the rest of the game is something I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But I just think that like if I'm building a deck, I kind of just would rather have like Blue Sun Zenith or Stroke of Genius.
Yeah.
So like this would be like a second card. So I was like, well, if it's not as good as cards that we already have, like I shouldn't put it on the list. That was my thought.
That makes sense. Again, I'm just like, oh, it's another card like that does more or less the same thing as like another card that I think is good.
Yeah, by the way, the red one also almost made my list because that card's awesome
too.
The
red one didn't make your list?
We're letting all the secrets out of the bag this episode.
You should. I'm starting to wonder if I even know you, dude. All right, man. What's your next one?
Okay.
Or should I go again?
I think because you had 5 left, so
1,
yeah, you should definitely go
2,
again.
3. Well, I have 4 left now.
Yep.
That's 5 minus 1.
That is how math works. Yes.
It is. Yep. But my next one is Bolus's Citadel. Is that on your list?
Nope.
Wow.
It was close though.
Yeah, they're all close.
This set's really good.
It is.
It's super good.
I think you just put like random commons at the top of your list.
I might have.
So Bolus Citadel is 3 and 3 black for a legendary artifact that says You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. Tap, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. I don't care about the tap, sacrifice 10 life. I mean, it could be a game finisher.
It's gravy. It's gravy.
Yeah, it's some extra, but like, I don't know. If I like see a 10 cost card on top of my library and it's like turn 6, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Omniscience? I'm going to pay 10 life for it, but I got Omniscience out and I don't care.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's the point here. This card's really cool. Actually, I love the design of this card. I think it's super great. And again, like in our previous show, if you've got Sensei's Divining Top, this card is the tops.
Yeah, it is.
I love this card. I think it's super great. It does something that nothing else has really let you do, which is like, well, I mean, channel or whatever. But like paying life to put cards into play is super good. I think for me, what made me like a little bit scared is like, okay, you hit that land, you know, you can play it and it doesn't cost any life. Another land, okay, now you're kind of stuck. It's not doing anything. And our format tends to run like a lot of higher cost spells. So I was a little bit wary that I'd be paying, 10, like for Omniscience or whatever. But no, I think this card's great. And I think it deserves to be on the list. It was one of the last ones that didn't make my list. I think it's really good. I definitely envision myself playing with it.
Same. So I have 1, 2, I have 3 left. How many do you have left? 3?
2.
2. Should I go again?
One more time.
All right. Maybe this one's on your list, Mr. Guy.
Mr. Guy.
I don't know. It's Saheeli's Sublime Artificer. Wow.
No.
So it's a hybrid blue-red, or it's 1 and 2 hybrid blue-reds. So, any combination thereof. So it's a legendary Planeswalker Saheeli. It says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. And then a -2. Oh, it has 5 loyalty. She comes with 5 loyalty. -2, target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature you control until the end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. I don't know. I think this is sweet. I definitely like getting servos whenever I cast non-creature spells, and I often cast those. And
You do. That's true.
And I definitely like being able to clone artifacts. You can do some messed up stuff.
I do like cloning artifacts as well. I think this card's awesome, actually. I think it's very playable in our format. I think you're definitely going to slot it into at least 2 decks that I know of.
Yep.
I think the card's really good. I think that there's some tricksy stuff you can do, like turning, the thing into an artifact or a creature. There's a lot of like flexibility there. I think it's a really good card. I just don't like that it's probably going to die.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's definitely like a sorcery. You cast it, and then you -2 it. You do something cool, and then it's probably gone. Like that's the deal with Planeswalkers in our format. I feel like
You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's why I don't play a lot of them in decks because people get them, right? But I think if you time it right, you can do some cool stuff.
Well, and I should say here, the Planeswalkers in this set are awesome. And especially ones like this that don't have like a scary ultimate, maybe they stick around a little more, right? Like
we'll see.
Your opponents might just be like, well, I could kill it, but then I'm leaving myself open and I'm not that super worried about it because it's not going to get out of hand. And it's a lot easier to keep in your mind what this card does than one that has like 3 abilities and like you're like, oh, well, how much is the ultimate? And is it a +1 or is it a +2? And okay, there's a lot to keep track of with Planeswalkers. And this one's not that, right? Like somebody could read it and keep it in their mind pretty easily. I think it's a really good card. I definitely want to play with it. I think that blue-red artifact decks are super fun.
Yeah, they are.
All right, so
we have 2. So we are 1 and 2 now.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 2, man?
All right. So here we go. All right. My number 2. I'm looking. I'm watching.
Okay. I'm not looking.
Right. No. I'm gonna look. I need to see if this is on your list.
Oh.
It's a card called Time Wipe.
It's not on my list.
Okay. Time Wipe is 2 white, blue. For a sorcery, return a creature you control to its owner's hand, then destroy all creatures. This is Wrath of God that bounces your best creature to your hand to survive the wrath. And a lot of times that's going to be your commander. And a lot of times you really want your commander to make your deck hum. And I mean, the fact that it's blue and white means it's not going to go into a ton of decks, but I really like this card and I like the design of it. I think it's super sweet. Like when we talked about it on the review show, I was like, oh, I really like this. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, this is kind of a unique effect.
Yeah.
And there's decks that want to abuse, it comes into play abilities and stuff or enters the battlefield abilities. There's a lot you can do with this, and it just seems like my kind of card. Like, I definitely want to play with this, and I think that it's maybe kind of a staple in blue-white strategies, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I just don't play a lot of blue-white decks.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's Paradox Engine good.
I mean, I play blue and white in decks, but I don't play exclusively blue-white decks too often.
Most notably, Esper.
Yep, that's true. I am known for Esper.
Do you think this goes in an Esper deck?
Oh, yeah. It does.
So, and this didn't make your list?
It didn't because I was like,
it's another Wrath. Yeah.
But
I did have that logic thought too. I did, I swear.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I wanted to put like Death Sprout on my list, and I was like, that's just more removal, right? I mean, you get a land out of it, but so I was like, we've seen that before. Like, that's how I ended up cutting a lot of things. I was like, we've seen this
because you had to, because the cards in the set are so crazy good.
I mean, it was hard cuts. All right, here's my number 2, Finale of Promise.
Ooh.
I'm willing to bet that our number 1 cards are the same.
Ooh, all right, interesting.
Double or nothing.
All right,
for a bottle of Heinz A1.
Bold.
I don't know if you knew about A1, but I like steak, but I mostly use it for a vehicle to get A1 into my mouth.
Absolutely.
People are like, I've had steak, they're like, oh man, I do all this good. I'm like, A1. I'm like, A1.
The controversy is real.
It's true. Come at me, A1 haters. So it's Finale of Promises, X red for a sorcery. This thing has like 8 lines of text. So if you try cast this, I am absolutely countering it.
I have a response.
Yeah, just immediately. The response is anger. So you may cast up to 1 target instant card and or up to 1 target sorcery card from your graveyard, each with converted mana cost X or less without paying their mana costs. If a card cast this way would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. If X is 10 or more, copy each of those spells twice. You may choose new targets for the copies of the spells. I think that's lit. Like, I think it's awesome.
This card is probably like one of the most cards I want to open most in the set.
Yeah,
like I think it's like near the top.
I think it's definitely one of the ones you're most unlikely to open since it's a mythic.
Yeah, I really like this card. It plays well in the type of decks I want to play.
Yeah.
I really want to cast it for 10, but it's valid even at like lower rarities. Like, I love spell slinging decks, and this is like an auto include in there.
For sure.
And honestly, the only reason it didn't make my list is because spell slinging is not the whole of EDH. But I'll tell you, I think this is like top 3 of the cards I want in the set.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like you put this card, you start your stack with this card. You got Electro Dominance, Sunbird's Invocation. You've got
gotta get that Electro D.
Mizzet's Mastery. Like, that card's insane. Like, all those in a deck. Like, if you're running red blue or red blue something else, like, I think you get there.
Okay, so you think our number 1s are the same?
I do. I think yours is. I think they're the same, but if it's not,
it's one of 2 cards, right?
It's one of 2 cards, right?
That's what I think too.
I feel like it's either the blue or the white god.
I think that your number 1 is the blue god.
I think yours is probably going to end up being the white.
We'll see. Let's do yours first.
All right. Mine is the blue god. God Eternal Kefnet. That's not yours? You chose the white one, did you?
Well, you'll see.
So I want to know now. God Eternal Kefnet. It's 2 and 2 blue for a 4/5 flying. That in and of itself is good.
Yeah, that rate is awesome.
I mean, it is awesome. Like, God Eternal Kefnet is a bird. So God Eternal Kefnet also, God Eternal Kefnet is a legendary creature zombie god, by the way. And it says you may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. That copy costs 2 less to cast. And then it has the god text for the set. It says when God Eternal Kefnet dies or is put into the exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library 3rd from the top. I think this card is tight.
I really like this card. Again, this is another one of the cards that I really want to open.
Same.
I think it doesn't go in every deck.
Oh, it doesn't. No.
But I do love Kefnet. I think it's great. And actually, that God text is really cool because it's even exile.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I was just thinking
just cannot get rid of these. They just will come back unless you, like, have them put it third from the top and then somehow shuffle the library or something.
Right. Earthquake. Not Earthquake. No. Wheel of Fortune.
Soldier of Fortune.
Is that a card?
Yeah, it like taps to make target players shuffle their library.
Oh,
it's a
nice.
single red mana.
Get in your deck.
But yeah, no, I think Hefnet's awesome. Definitely deserving of a number one spot. Didn't make my list. I definitely want to play with this card. I think it's super sweet. I think that it's going to play similar to Keranos, God of the Storms. And that's why I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And I don't know that I necessarily want it to be my commander because I want other colors with it. Right?
Yeah.
I want red with it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's amazing. I think the design is really good on all the gods. And I want to play with all of them. And that's my favorite of the gods. I also considered putting the green one on my list too.
Really?
Yeah, it comes into play and it just doubles the power and toughness of your team and gives them vigilance till end of turn.
Nice.
It's like 5 mana. It's really good. So
That's in a ghost good.
Yeah, the gods are like huge, like flavor wins.
Yeah.
Like from if you've been following the story since Amonkhet, which I have, and I think the cards are great, but for me, I was just like, oh, the downside of having to reveal stuff, I don't.
Yeah, I get that.
And like, if you're playing a bunch of counter spells, it's not great with those. But I'm gonna play this card.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely gonna play this card. I think this card's sweet. Okay, so it's not the white god, my number one.
Oh, really?
Really? But it is a card that you texted me about.
I mean, that doesn't really narrow it down, right? I text you cards all the time.
That is true. Right. Don't go look through your text messages.
I'm not. I'm trying to think. Let me guess what it's going to be. So it's not a god.
Nope.
Is it Dugan?
No, it is not. All right, you know what? I'm not going to leave our audience in suspense. No, it is
Soren.
Narcissus Reversal.
Really?
I think this card is super sweet, and I'm going to read it out for the folks at home. So Narcissus Reversal is blue for an instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this card kind of does something that
usually
no other card does, right? So you copy it, but you also remove their copy from the stack. And that's interesting.
What does this do again? Oh, that's not what I thought it did.
Yeah, it's like Remand.
Okay.
Right?
I thought it was like Blue Reverberate.
It is, but so the thing that's crazy is there are a ton of cards in our format that don't target, and this doesn't have to, like, it can copy Cyclonic Rift.
What?
Right? And then their Cyclonic Rift doesn't happen. Right? Because normally if you reverberate a Cyclonic Rift, okay, all the permanents go away.
Yeah.
Right? But you're just kind of like, nope, mine. And that seems like a big deal to me.
That's pretty good.
And, with things like Exsanguinate or Debt to the Debtless, like, there's a lot of cards where you're like, oh, mine's going to resolve first, but then they're going to get theirs and get some of that life back. And this kind of cuts that out. You can copy an Insurrection if you have a sack outlet. And I think that there's a lot of fun plays. And I think this card's really unique. Like, there's not another Magic card that does this exact thing. And I think it's really good. And I've thought about it a lot. And I really do think it's really good. It's also the kind of card I like to play with.
Yeah, for sure.
So I might be a little biased. But Narcissus Reversal is just... I can't even fathom all the scenarios where I think it's that good.
Yeah, like I read it, and I guess I just read it fast. I didn't catch what it actually did, and that does seem super good.
I think it's worthy of the number one spot. And audience out there, let us know what you think. Right? Compare our lists. Let us know what your list is. Right? I would love to see some top 10 lists from our viewers and our listeners, because there are so many good cards. Like, every list is going to be valid. And there are so many cards I wanted to put on here. So many. I think it's ironic that in War of the Spark, I didn't put Single Planeswalker in my top 10.
That's funny. The only one I had was Saheeli, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep.
So, the set is dripping with flavor.
It is.
It is so cool. I cannot wait, like, literally cannot wait for the pre-release. I'm going to just... I'm just going to go crazy.
And, like, I want to take this minute to, like, give a shout out to Blake and WotC in general for doing this season of previews the way they did.
Oh,
I
totally.
mean, all 3 weeks of this, I've been on the edge of my seat every day, looking, me like, oh, what's this? What's this? Oh my gosh, oh. And then texting people, going, oh my gosh, what's this? Oh. And like, I haven't been this excited for a set in probably in a long time. I think the most excited I've been for a set before this recently was Dominaria.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing.
But like, I'm way more excited for this than I was Dominaria because it's this epic story and it's just really cool. Like, and they're doing the book.
I'm totally going to read that book.
For sure.
Man. Yes.
So like, thanks guys. Like, this seems
Absolutely.
to be the feeling of the community too. Everyone seems to really like it. So.
Actually, one of my favorite things about the set is not even the cards. It is the story. And it's how many people I've seen that didn't really care about the story in the past that are like engaging with it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've known about the lore and the characters for decades and, all the way back to the Weatherlight crew.
Yeah.
Right? And so seeing all these people like become fans of the lore and like the characters in this game are amazing. There's so much is put into the world building and the characters, and to finally see that be appreciated it's truly awesome. And so like not only am I like excited about the cards because they look great, but I'm excited about the lore and the story, and I'm gonna read that book. I'm gonna get it the day it comes out.
Same.
And I'm probably gonna read it on my phone.
Oh, you're gonna get the ebook?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
I'm thinking about buying the hardback. I haven't decided yet.
Oh, well, let me know like if you order it.
All right. Well, thanks for making it to the end of the video, everyone. We definitely appreciate you spending this hour with us. And please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Brothers Warcast.
And individually on Twitter, I'm at Green Geek.
And I'm at Z4CK38. And this is the Brothers War saying, Geek out.